Should this cross your path today, please tune in right away before the moment passes. I just need a couple of minutes from you. That is genuinely the only commitment I am requesting at this moment. Just a fraction of your day. I fully understand how hectic your schedule is. I realize your notifications are probably going off as we speak. I am well aware that countless obligations are demanding your attention, yet a specific reason caused you to pause. A distinct impulse prompted you to hit play. A quiet intuition deep inside assured you that this message wasn't like the rest. And your instinct is entirely correct. This truly is unique. Let me explain what is going on. People rarely discuss that subtle, lingering alarm you have harbored inside for quite a while. That quiet sense of unease that simply refuses to vanish, regardless of your attempts to ignore it. The undeniable sensation that a massive change is looming. It is the realization that the very foundation you have relied upon, the bedrock that seemed completely secure for years, is finally beginning to fracture right under your feet. You probably convinced yourself it was merely anxiety, typical stress, the result of staying up too late, having too much caffeine, or just enduring another exhausting grind. However, this isn't about feeling anxious or stressed. It is life forcefully removing the veil from your vision, and this awakening is unfolding regardless of your actual preparedness. You have spent your journey accumulating external markers such as connections, material goods, professional labels, and personal successes. You have stuffed your daily schedule to the brim and loaded your spirit with everything you assumed would provide a lasting sense of security. Take a very close look at the baggage you are hauling around right now. Examine that specific connection you continue to cling to, the dynamic that constantly depletes your energy, where you constantly pour your soul out until you are entirely empty. You mistakenly believed you had to grip it tightly, assuming that walking away was equivalent to confessing a personal failure. Yet here is the harsh reality, and it is vital that you absorb this because it stands as my most crucial point of the entire message. The sheer duration of your commitment to a situation does not justify remaining stuck there. It certainly isn't a badge of honor. It is actually a snare. You have been trapped in this cycle for such an extended period that recalling your life before this entanglement is nearly impossible. Consider that career path you genuinely despise. The role that causes a heavy knot of dread in your core the moment you open your eyes each day. The position where you dedicate the bulk of your waking hours to tasks that gradually erode your inner spark. You have successfully persuaded yourself that escaping is impossible, that the paycheck is essential, that the perks justify the misery, or that your skills are entirely useless elsewhere. Yet I am standing here telling you firmly that this specific occupation is the exact barrier blocking you from realizing your ultimate potential. You have been scaling a corporate structure that ultimately reaches a dead end, and every rung you ascend simply pulls you further away from your true foundation. Furthermore, you falsely assume time is on your side. You tell yourself you can endure this routine for another 12 months, until your children finish school, until your home is fully owned, until economic conditions stabilize, or simply until the timing feels perfect. The stark reality is that a state of absolute readiness will never arrive. Life rarely provides a convenient green light, confirming a frictionless path ahead. Instead, it tends to deliver massive disruptions when you are completely off guard. It will abruptly dismantle your comfort zone, leaving you stranded amidst the wreckage, trying to understand what went wrong. Please understand, my goal isn't to instill fear in your heart. I am sharing these words because your soul is actually prepared for this transition. You already harbor plenty of fear inside. You have been living alongside that hidden terror for a very long time. You have simply mastered the art of ignoring it. That heavy pressure around your heart whenever tomorrow crosses your mind. That physical constriction, that struggle to inhale deeply. That is merely your physical self vocalizing a truth that your logical mind is actively denying. It seems to me that you have been cruising through life, completely checked out. You barely even identify with the individual you have morphed into. Your choices have been dictated by external expectations, driven by societal ideals you assumed you needed, and guided by a predetermined narrative handed down long before you had the agency to draft your own story. During that confusing journey, your true essence simply slipped away. This erasure didn't happen overnight, nor was it marked by a single catastrophic event, but rather it occurred gradually via minor concessions and subtle rejections of your deepest desires. These infractions were so minuscule they evaded your radar, right up until the morning you stared into the glass and saw an unfamiliar face staring back. Do you need undeniable evidence that a shift has occurred? Just observe your current emotional responses. Passions that previously thrilled you now seem completely devoid of meaning. Individuals who used to bring you immense joy now siphon away your vitality within minutes. You find yourself isolating, building defensive walls, and retreating from environments that formerly offered comfort. Meanwhile, you keep rationalizing this behavior by claiming exhaustion, daydreaming about a getaway, and promising yourself that a brief period of rest will restore your former personality. The honest truth is that the chaos won't magically subside, and returning to your old self is impossible because that past iteration of you permanently gone. Surprisingly, this evolution is incredibly positive. This transformation is the entire goal. A powerful new presence has been taking root deep within your spirit. This emerging force naturally rejects those outdated habits. It completely dismisses the familiar justifications and refuses to tolerate the status quo. Its weight becomes obvious during those sleepless nights as you gaze upward. Its presence is undeniable during your daily commute, when the sheer absurdity of your current existence suddenly washes over you. There is absolutely nothing wrong with your mind. You are simply experiencing an awakening. Naturally, your social circle, specifically those who extracted value from your past compliance, will strongly resent this shift. They will directly accuse you of changing, complaining that your former identity is missing, and their assessment will be spot on. You are definitely not that old version. Evolving into someone new is entirely necessary. That profound alteration is the underlying purpose of your current struggle. You are lugging around a tremendous amount of emotional baggage that simply isn't your property. Regret that you never earned. Insecurity that others forced upon your shoulders, burdens that were carelessly tossed your way simply because their rightful owners lacked the fortitude to manage them. You have functioned as a dumping ground for external dilemmas, acting as an absorbent pad for everyone else's dramatic turbulence. Taking on such a heavy dose of it that your own boundaries have completely blurred. However, that toxic pattern terminates exactly at this second. We are not waiting for tomorrow. We aren't delaying this until you patch up minor issues later today. It stops right now, in this exact breath, because your encounter with this message signifies that your grace period has officially expired. You have spent far too long seeking authorization from external figures to execute a pivot you inherently know is necessary. You have secretly wished for a bystander to grant you clearance, craving a voice that confirms the safety of your leap and authenticates the deep wisdom you already possess. I assure you that external approval will never materialize. It was always a myth, simply because you hold sole authority over your journey, and external opinions hold no real jurisdiction. No outside force has the right to dictate your requirements. No one else genuinely comprehends the intense burden you have been dragging along. Speaking to you as an ally, I must be completely transparent. The load you carry is destined to increase shortly. This isn't a cosmic penalty designed to break you, but rather a rigorous training regimen meant to equip you. Reflect on the sheer volume of adversity you have already conquered. I am not talking about minor hurdles or daily annoyances. Focus your mind on the profound tragedies, that devastating news you never saw coming, that massive rejection that knocked the wind out of you. That specific instance where survival seemed impossible, yet you remain present. You are upright and enduring. You are actively pulling air into your lungs. I completely recognize that resilience is the last thing you feel right now. I know your current sensation is one of desperately clinging by a thread. Nevertheless, the simple reality that you maintain forward motion, continue respiring, and miraculously navigate every 24-hour cycle reveals your true character entirely. Fragility is not woven into your DNA. Your spirit has been tempered through intense flames, and while extreme heat burns, its ultimate function isn't annihilation. It is profound refinement. You are on the verge of entering a trial that will demand every single reserve of power you have accumulated. My intention here is absolutely not to invoke panic. My objective is to force you to drop the facade of unreadiness. You have been methodically crafting an internal reservoir, a resilient structure designed to carry your impending destiny. And despite the outward appearance of stagnation, despite the illusion of zero progress, a massive architectural endeavor has been quietly unfolding within your spirit. This is the sort of profound building that requires no external validation or architectural plans. The type of growth that takes place in the quiet dawn before the world stirs and during those restless midnight hours when you fixate on the darkness, questioning your own sanity. There is fundamentally nothing flawed within your makeup. Absolutely, unequivocally, nothing. You are merely undergoing a vital conditioning phase. The breakthroughs you have been intensely manifesting, wishing for, and envisioning, those exact outcomes that appear entirely out of reach today, are actually lingering just around the corner. Achieving them, however, requires navigating some intense internal friction beforehand. You must actively release several heavy attachments. You will be forced to initiate farewells you have strategically dodged, and those specific separations will sting deeply. That emotional pain is part of the design. Aching is the definitive proof that your previous connections possessed genuine depth. Suffering is the visceral reminder that a heart still beats in your chest. Yet this agony does not serve as the final chapter of your life. It is never the conclusion. Audit the inventory of things you are clinging to that simply cannot cross the threshold into your next chapter. The partner who fails to value your worth, the career that aggressively consumes your spirit, the persistent illusion of your own inadequacy, and the tired narrative you constantly recite to justify your stagnation. Let us pause and dissect that specific internal narrative briefly. Let us expose it to harsh daylight and really inspect its roots. The idea that you lack inherent value. Where exactly did you absorb that fiction? Whose voice implanted that specific lesson? Did it stem from a caregiver incapable of offering the verbal validation you craved? Did an educator purposely shrink your confidence? Or perhaps an intimate partner, a supposed twin flame, successfully gaslit you into believing your existence was simultaneously overwhelming and inadequate? This fabricated tale has been subtly directing your choices from behind the curtain for years. It serves as this unseen force actively suppressing your momentum whenever you attempt an upward trajectory. The reality is, it is entirely false. It never held a shred of validity. It remains a piece of fiction you internalized during your vulnerable years, one that you stubbornly refuse to drop. The moment has arrived to recognize its true nature, an obsolete coping mechanism you outgrew long ago, a heavy boulder you were explicitly never designed to